Hey everyone, it's SG Holy Man, and welcome to another video in my Holy Man Replay series. This is a series where I'm going back and replaying a bunch of games from this generation. Most of them are my favorites. Some of them are just games that I thought would be interesting to go back and revisit after some time has passed to see how they hold up. And this falls into that category because I can easily say this is not one of my favorite games. This is probably nobody's favorite game. That's kind of a harsh thing to say, because every game has its fans, but yeah, I'm going to assume that 90% of you probably forgot the Order 1886 even existed, and 10% of you are like me and do remember and just willingly chose to forget, which is the right move. But yeah, with that long intro out of the way, I'll just get into the meat of this video. So to be 100% honest, I had no intention of replaying this game for this series, at all, or just in general. But I was going through my collection a few weeks ago and I seen this game on the shelf and I was like, I'm going to replay this and I'm even going to stream it. So that's what I did. And now that I went through that again, I decided, I might as well just make a video on it, because why not? So here we are. I don't even know where to start. I guess I can start by saying the game isn't great. It's not. It's okay. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, though. It's not as bad as I remember it being. It's still kind of bad. I'll start with the story, and the story is something. The characters can be quite good, actually. That is the one thing I do like about this game, and it has some pretty interesting characters, and the one thing I will defend this game on is that the world that it sets up is actually really cool. This whole idea of the Knights of the Round Table are in London and they hunt werewolves and just a whole bunch of cool stuff that goes on in the story. It's just pretty neat. And the overall look of the game actually helps. Ready at Dawn put a lot of money into the engine of this game, and you can tell the lighting, just the overall look of the game is fantastic, even this many years later. And I don't know the rights situation. I know Sony still owns the IP. I don't know if Ready at Dawn took the engine. I forget what the engine's called. But yeah, this game looks great. The engine's awesome. The lighting is just really good. It's the one thing that this game has going for it. My main issue with the overall plot is the plot of this game, which was a revenge tale, sort of, which is what it turned into in the back half of the game. That should have been the plot of the sequel. This game, where we're setting up everything, should have been a really, really simple story of knights versus werewolves. So that way we can get introduced to everything. That's what it should have been, but it wasn't. And excuse me. That's another thing. For a game about werewolves, there's hardly any werewolves. I know that's the joke, but it's true. You're mainly fighting human enemies, and there's maybe 5 times you fight werewolves through the entire game. The story is all over the place and goes in some very weird, and I don't want to say interesting, but they're very weird directions. And yeah, that's about it as far as the story goes. I guess I can get into the gameplay. The gameplay itself is serviceable. It's average. It's a third-person cover shooter. And, it works. I won't say it's fun to play, but it works. It's not broken. There's only two cool guns to use. For those of you who forgot, there's the arc blaster, I think is what it's called. You basically shoot lighting out of your gun, and for most enemies it's a one-hit kill, and it's actually really awesome. And then there's the thermite gun, where it's like you shoot a bunch of thermite in an area and then you ignite it, and then you basically burn your enemies. That's really cool. But unfortunately, there's not a whole lot to go with that. Like all the other guns are just kind of bland and boring. Well, I guess I forget what your standard gun is called, but it's like standard issue for the knights. That one's kind of cool. Like it has the air blast in front. But other than that, like yeah, there's nothing really to write home about. And then speaking of the werewolves, the fights that you do have, they're pretty boring. You basically, for those of you, again, I'm assuming that a lot of you forgot, and I'll just talk about it now. The werewolf fights, the main ones are basically you stand in a corner, they'll pop out, howl at you, you shoot them, they run at you, you hit X to dodge, and then they run back and run away. And you just repeat that till they die. And that's the fight. There are a couple cool boss fights with the werewolves. Like it's a whole like hit R2 for heavy attack, L2 for light attack. I don't think there's any real reason to hit L2 anyways. You're basically just mashing R2 and then dodging at the correct moment. But yeah, overall the werewolf fight sucks and there's not a lot of them. I'm trying to think, are there anything else? There's more I wanted to talk about. I just kind of went through my notes. If I remember right, with the pitch for this game, it was to try and blend cinematic storytelling and gameplay together, which is kind of a thing that was kind of big at the time, really, for third-person games. And the only level I really feel like they succeeded in that was the 5th chapter. This game's only 6 hours long, by the way. And that's the airship level. That's probably the coolest level, and it's the one that actually I think works. But yeah, the main problem overall with this game is they put a lot of money into the engine, and they forgot to make a game. And then the story went in weird, not interesting, just weird directions. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say. I don't want to make this video too long. It doesn't deserve it. But I think I'm going to leave it there and get into my final thoughts. So, in terms of final thoughts, I know I've been pretty down on the game this entire time. Overall, it's just an okay game. That being said, it's only $20, I believe, and this is honestly the definition of a game that's a 6 out of 10, or for me, that'd be an okay. So like, again, it's $20, and if you have a weekend where you have nothing to do and you just want to go through something quick and you understand what you're getting into, I can actually recommend this game on that, because it's not terrible. Like, it's not just god-awful, like unplayable or just bad. Like, I can't call it bad, but it is okay. So I can recommend it on that. Also, I will defend the game on the fact that if Sony announced that there was going to be a sequel, it won't be Ready at Dawn, because if I remember right, there was a falling out between Ready at Dawn and Sony. But if they did announce like the Order 1887, I'd actually be pretty interested in it, and I might play it. Because there's a lot of interesting ideas, and there's like 5 things they really need to fix, and otherwise it would be really good. So, and there is that. And yeah, I just realized that this turned into more of a review than a replay. I should have just spoiled the crap out of this game, but I didn't. But yeah, that was my experience replaying the Order 1886. I'm so glad I don't have to do it again. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video. If you liked what you've seen, you can go ahead and like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more game reviews, gaming videos, and all the good gaming stuff. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.